What's up, everybody? I hate to let you know, but I got terrible news. The school systems are greatly failing so many of our children, all right? I've been going through the comments of people discussing with their thoughts about the Marvel Rivals dev matchmaking video. And like, man, comprehension is just down the toilet. I was like, I need to do a video talking about some of the worst responses. So these are just from Twitter, by the way. These are mostly in the Marvel Rivals group. I haven't even checked Reddit. It's probably just as bad or worse over there. So maybe if you guys like this video, I'll go check out some of those ridiculous comments as well. But something that you'll notice when going through these too is that so many of these people just say things and they get an insane amount of likes. They'll get thousands of likes, and they don't pull a quote. They don't tell you a timestamp. They just interpreted something in their own weird little strange way, and everybody who sucks is just like, yep, yep, yep. This explains why I'm bad at in ranked. This explains it. So, anyways, I'm gonna read some of the dumbest responses I found, and then I'll show you what some good responses, some good takes about this look like. All right, so let's jump into the first one. So it's rigged against the average player in order to cater to stacks. Got it. What are you talking about? Have you played? Have you played any game ever? Is this your first gaming experience? This has 1.2 thousand likes. I'm not gonna lie to you. This tweet right here is what inspired this entire video. Like, what do you mean? In any game you play, you solo queuing is always going to be worse against anybody playing together. It's always gonna be worse. It's not rigged. That's just reality. That's how the world works. I'd be like saying like, if I jump off the roof, I'm gonna fall down. Well, that's rigged. No, that's just how things happen. Like, okay, like worst case scenario, the team plays together, the stack you're going up against plays together all the time. They have great coordination, communication, all sorts of things, just synergy, all sorts of stuff. That is worst case scenario, and that's barely happening. Like most of the times I'm just queuing casually with my buddies, but you need to understand, like the bare minimum is just communication. If you're going up against 6 people on the other team and 2 of them, 3 of them, 4 of them, 4 of them, if they're communicating together, they are miles ahead of you. Like you guys, I'm a 40-year-old man who's been playing competitive games since like high-speed internet started to become mainstream back in the late 90s, early 2000s. Like I've played, I played Counter-Strike, I've played Dota, I've played League of Legends, I've played Valorant, I've played Deadlock, I've played so many other games. And I will tell you this for a fact, no matter what game you play, solo queuing will always be worse than playing with a group of people. It's not rigged, and it just kills my soul knowing how many people like this tweet, like this was some revelation to them. Like just don't play any game ever that involves other people and some form of competition. Just don't do that if you're gonna be solo queuing. You're always gonna be at a disadvantage, all right? Next one up. This one's my all-star of this video. I got a couple from this person. So I'll be very honest. After knowing how points are distributed, I have lost all interest in playing vanguards and strategists since you won't be rewarded for doing so, but also punished harshly. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? There's nothing that says you gain less points for playing these roles. Like it doesn't say that at all. It actually says right here, if you go to like the 4 to 5 minute mark, right in this area, it is talking about how it is comparing you. It is giving you points based on how you played compared to other people playing the exact same character within your rank. All right, so it doesn't matter what role you pick, it is comparing you to other people within who are playing that same character. Like that's it. So it doesn't matter if you play Vanguard Strategist, Duelist, whatever. Like for example, I play Vanguard and Strategist. I suck at Duelist. I'm working on it, been doing some aim training, getting a little better. But anyways, if I play Duelist, I'm always gonna get less points because I'm probably gonna be at the very bottom. I'm gonna be weighing that average down, you know what I mean? So it literally does not matter what role you play. But then after I went through, I was like, let me see what else this person says. I went through, and this is a PlayStation player who accuses other people of cheating, all right? Like apparently they just have aimbots. They have aimbots on it, outside, like what, outside of aim assist, but like, I don't even know, this is even a crazy clip, and latency makes up for half of it. I'll be honest too, I remember there were so many cheaters, like when this game came out, I really really haven't run into any that I suspect in recent months. But anyways, it's comparing you against people playing your exact same character. So this next one says, so basically, the better you perform in a game, the more likely you are to be matched with crappy teammates in the next game to balance the lobbies. This explains why people experience losing streaks after winning streaks. The algorithm watches your performance in each game. Doesn't say that at all anywhere in this video. In fact, it's quite the opposite. It is trying to get you with people who are close to your level, both on your team and on the opposing team. Now, is it possible? Yes, but as he explains in this video, this is only if queue times are starting to get ridiculously long. Like if you're here, right? If you have a score of, I'm just making numbers up, if you have a score of 1800, it's gonna try to find people as close to 1800 above or below. And by the way, you might be the person below. Maybe it's trying to find somebody who's at 1850 and you get put with them and you're lower than them. But it's trying to find you people close to your score as possible, either higher or lower. Now, as a queue time gets longer, it's gonna stretch that. It might find people better than you, it might find people a little bit worse than you, but it's still within a certain range. That's it. Like what this person's saying, and I saw this from a few people, is you think that there's a magical number, right? You think that there's a magical number and it says every lobby needs to be at an average of 1,500. So then it's taking you who's at 1,800 and then it's just like, oh, well, we'll find this person who's at like, I don't know, like 1,200 and then that averages out to 1,500. I don't do math. I don't know if that's correct. But anyways, there's not a magical number. It's looking at you and trying to average based on you. It's not averaging off some other magical number. So if the scenario happens, it's only due to long queue times. And as he discusses, he mentions it like 3 or 4 times. That is the tricky balance of matchmaking, right? Match quality versus queue times, okay? And I would argue that this happens a lot less than people think because there are so many people who play Marvel Rivals. And I talked about this in like my previous video. Like, I don't know about you guys, but like, I would prefer slightly worse matchmaking than long queue times, if that's the case. But there are also so many other variables that he touches on throughout this video that can explain certain losses and stuff like that. So no, it's not just trying to weigh you down because you're just so good. Because the other issue is that so many people think they're God's gift to this game. Like everybody thinks that they're just the best player in any lobby and they're the all-star. Everybody else needs to get on their level. And like, it blows my mind because so many pro players talk about how when you lose, you need to quit blaming everybody else and start looking at yourself. You need to watch your own replays. What could you have done better? Right? Like there needs to be a little bit of humility. And these are the top players in the world. If they're saying that, then who are you in your diamond or platinum? These are people who are one above all playing at international tournaments. And you're sitting here saying like, no, I'm the best. I don't do anything wrong. I don't make mistakes. I'm flawless. Meanwhile, these people are looking at their matches like, come on. Like I was recently watching like the Marvel Rivals podcast. It had like Flats and Boger and Aramori on it. And they were talking about how they'll watch people's replays and they see how bad some of these people do, and they're blaming everybody else. There was even a tweet that Flats mentioned where this guy was on Twitter in the group complaining about his healer, but then when you watch the guy's clip, he's Groot holding up his wall, getting ready to plant it, and he's running in 1v6. Like, what? Like, you guys, you gotta sit back and look at what you're doing wrong, all right? All we could do is control ourselves, and a lot of people don't wanna take that look inward. This next one, pretty similar. Essentially, if you're not a DPS, the game's okay, like what? If you're not a DPS, okay. Like people just heard whatever they wanted to hear. The games punish you for great individual performance relative to your rank and role by putting you with a combination of teammates that in actuality will make for you a worse experience and or a loss for the sake of quote unquote fairness. No, this goes back to this one, I just explained it. That's a dumb take, nowhere in this does it say that. It might put you with people slightly worse than you, but you guys also gotta realize like there's a rank cap. Like you're never gonna be platinum and it's gonna be putting you with silver players. That's not what's gonna happen, right? Now, like here's a variable that I just thought of right now that definitely 100% happens. Let's say somebody got carried by their group of friends who are really good. Their friends are hopping on alt accounts, carrying them up to a certain rank, and then that person solo queues. they might not deserve to be in that rank. And something a lot of people were talking about the last time the EOMM discussion came up was a lot of people got carried in the earlier seasons, and now they think they deserve a higher rank when they were really just carried in the previous seasons. And now matchmaking is a little bit different, point systems and all that kind of stuff. All right, now our favorite person is back, and they say, so all I heard is Black Widow. All I heard is play Black Widow, perform well, and you're gaining so much more and losing the least, by the way. What? What are you talking about? Like I said, right here in this section, they talk about how it's comparing you to other people. And then I'll double it with this one. This other person says, so I was right. The issue isn't matchmaking, it's how rank points distribution works, which then lead to a terrorist making it in your ELO just by queue until you make it. Also, I was right on performance points. If you play Black Panther or Torch, it's much easier to get out of low ELO. Someone asked, are they easier to climb with because the average BP and Torch kind of suck? Yeah, hero-specific performance comparison basically highlights it. Like this is doing a few things, right? First off, it's comparing you to other people playing that role. So even if there's only one other Black player on the entire planet, it's comparing you to them. If you are nowhere near close to their skill level, you're not gonna gain points and you're gonna lose points. Like that's what's gonna happen. So just because you think fewer people play a role, it doesn't matter. Like with hundreds of thousands of people playing on every single platform, you're going to run into it comparing you with dozens, hundreds, or even thousands of people playing that exact same character. So again, this is that ego talking like, oh, I could play any role and just be amazing. What are you talking about? Like here's the thing, like I'll let you know right now, like if I tried to do this hack, of just playing Black Panther because the average Black Panther is bad, I would get wrecked. I have super low sensitivity. I wouldn't be able to be doing those 180 kick fly through everybody, you know, as Black Panther, and I would weigh it down so severely. This is saying that they think that anybody can just pick up these characters. Like who do you think the bad players are? There are people terrible with these characters reading your tweet just saying, yeah, I'm clearly one of the best ones. Like, no, you're probably not. This is not a hack, and I you know what? I challenge some of you. If you agree with this, go do it. Go do it. If you're especially if you're a strategist or a tank main, go pick up Black Panther and tell me how many ranks you climb in the next week just maining Black Panther. Like, what are you talking about? Or even Torch. Like, there are so many Torches I go up against who just feed. And again, this is assuming that anybody reading this tweet would not be one of those feeding Torches or one of those feeding Black Panthers. I would be back there feeding the crap out of the enemy team. All right, so what's this last one say? No explanation for why certain characters, Jeff Ultron or SQ, is that Squirrel Girl? I think so. Farm MVPs and no explanation for 65% of matches feel like a stomp or get stomped. First off, there is nothing in this video that say MVPs give you a better score. We have no evidence of that, right? Like, yes, they do farm MVPs. They did like change that a little bit, but we have no evidence that that actually gives you more points. Again, it is comparing you against other people playing that exact same character. MVP, to my knowledge, does nothing. Like, imagine if I went and played basketball against a bunch of 5-year-olds, right? I don't play basketball, clearly. I'm out of shape, but I would destroy a bunch of little kids in basketball. So I would be the MVP. Would anybody say like, oh, this guy's good enough to be in this, you know, he should be able to play in some league somewhere? No, that wouldn't matter. So MVPs have nothing to do with it. As far as my knowledge, if they mentioned it in the video and I missed it, feel free to send me a timestamp. It says no explanation for 65% of matches feel like a stomp or get stomped. So this might be me being nitpicky here, but I see people say stuff like this all the time, trying to throw around percentages or talk about their win streaks or loss streaks. We have so many biases. It's part of human nature. Me, you, everybody on the planet. We have confirmation bias. We have recency bias, all right? You're focusing in on these streaks when they happen, right? Like, you're probably not even paying attention to your win streaks. You're only paying attention to your loss streaks and all that. Like, you have to understand, any major scientific study that's like worth a damn is like taking thousands of samples as a proper sample size, right? To make sure that there's no crazy variables or outliers. You know what I mean? Like I mentioned this in my last video, if you go and flip a coin 100 times and write down every time you get heads or tails, you're gonna see streaks of heads or tails. These things are just gonna happen. And he even talks about probability in this video, okay? But anyways, let's talk about some of the good responses. So you can see what it meant to properly interpret this matchmaking video. So explained everything but changed nothing, just acknowledging and agreeing that the system has flaws and can/will end up screwing you over to the point their most important factor in winning or losing coming down to luck. It would have been better if they actually blank. Yeah, yes, yeah, like that's something I can get on board with. Like matchmaking, I think there's an issue. I think one of the biggest things that they could do for matchmaking, especially in ranked, is just have placement matches. That would be huge. But yeah, there's a lot of luck involved. You don't know if somebody on your team is having a bad day and da 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 da. And so much of this is gonna happen in any game. Once again, you know, some people have good days, some people have bad days. Like as I've been aim training and trying to play more DPS, like there are games when I just feel like on fire. I'm in a zone. All my aim training coming to fruition. Like I'm just going off, right? And then other times, since I'm new to like training my aim, like I'm just very inconsistent. You know what I mean? There are a lot of variables that we can't account for. So I will agree with this. I do think that there are things that they probably can do to improve matchmaking, but I do think that they did a very good job in this video explaining that there's some things that they just cannot account for. And like, I've seen a lot of people who came from the Overwatch community commenting on this, and they talk about how these same things are talked about over there. I remember one time I was curious, I was doing research, and I was checking different games and just looking for people complaining about the matchmaking. And I found it in Overwatch, League of Legends, Valorant, and I forget what other games. Like it's something that people will always complain about, again, because everybody thinks that they're God's gift to the game, so anytime they lose, it's never their fault. AKA skill issue, cope. Yep. like a lot of people don't want to just admit like, hey, maybe I'm bad at this game. You know, that's one of the reasons I started aim training. Like I'm just, you know, I'm a 40-year-old gamer and I've never focused on my aim. Like just admit like you have room for improvement. We all do. Even the best players acknowledge that they have room for improvement. These devs funny AF to assume that the average Marvel Rivals player can do math. Yeah, if you watch my reaction to the video, there's so many times like where he's like talking about like all this right here. This was the most confusing part to me. He's going over these points and coefficients and stuff like that. Like, man, I have not even heard the word coefficient since like high school. Like I said, I'm 40, so that was a hot minute ago. Then this one basically is saying imbalanced games come from teams where players quote, filled outside their max potential role. Players with high performance, duelist coefficients, filling strategists, vice versa, etc. Open queue will lead to this happening a lot. It explains everything completely. Yes, 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 yes. Like, you need to understand that. Like, something that they didn't talk about in this video, but they did talk about, or NetEase talked about, years before Marvel Rivals came out, all the stuff that sparked like the quote unquote evidence of EOMM, like their system that they were talking about for previous NetEase games was actually looking at the roles you play as well. And I don't believe this one talked about it. Like when he goes over this section, where is it? Like this section right here. When he's talking about this, and how it's grouping you with people, it looked like it was a performance thing, but I don't think it was a role thing. And it sounds like NetEase did that with different games. I don't think it did it with this. And that might increase queue times even longer, where if it's like, okay, you're a strategist main and here's, you know, your skill level there, right? And I'm sure that gets complicated too, because I was a strategist main and now I've been maining tank for, you know, the last few months, right? But anyways, a lot of times people are filling outside their normal roles, and that's going to explain it. Like this person says right here, a duelist having to fill as a strategist, right? Or dude, there's been games, like I said, I'm a strategist in a tank game, tank player. There's been games when I've had to fill as DPS. And like, I'll do everything I can to not fill that role. I'll be like, hey, let's triple strategist or something, you know what I mean? But that is something to take into consideration. Something that I do, and you might wanna take this tip, is ask people in the lobby, hey, are you comfortable on this role? Do you wanna swap? Rather than telling somebody, oh, you suck at this role and like starting a fight and then calling the other person toxic, ask people, are you comfortable on this role? Do you wanna switch? You know what I mean? When I join a ranked lobby, First thing I say is, what do we need? I can play strategist or tank. Like, I am competent. I have like most of strategists as Lord. I have 4 or 5 Vanguards on Lord too. So I feel competent in those 2 roles. So I'm letting everybody know, like, hey, if you don't want to play those, I can fill one of those 2. But I also see a lot of people saying, I can play whatever. People think they're this global flex player. And again, that comes down to ego. You're not that good. But yes, like this person say, like imbalanced games, that's one of the main variables in it. All right. But anyways, if you like this video, let me know down in the comments. Like I will torture myself and go through the dumb Reddit replies to this video, because I guarantee there are a bunch. But yeah, let me know if you learned something from their matchmaking video. I did see some people saying like, hey, this opened my eyes, like, and that like warmed my heart. I wish I would have saved that one. Like, that was probably the best response that I said. It was literally the only one I saw where someone said like, I didn't understand matchmaking before, and now I do. And like, that is what I think that their main goal was to this. And like I was saying, like that first person who was like talking about like, oh, so it's always gonna be rigged against solo players, like, it makes me think that nobody has ever heard of matchmaking or played a competitive game. All right, but anyways, that's all I got. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, ring that notification bell. All right, but yeah, other than that, have an amazing rest of your day. All right, calm down the ego. Remember that you have stuff to work on. All right, but I'll see you in the next one.